So welcome back to Joanna de Angelis studies on the work Empty Lives, psychography by Divaldo Franco by the Spirit Joanna de Angelis. And today we are going to start chapter 10 of this book that is talking about fun and futilities. So I would like to make a remark on the current approach of Joanna de Angelis in relation to our day-to-day lives. So she starts by saying, all beings on the earth are bound by the requirements of evolution. So we have no doubt in relation to that. The law is that of progress. We are all going to progress, some faster than others, like in everything in life. Some may present more talents in one area than the others. But at the end, everyone will reach in its state of perfection or perfected beings all the knowledge that they need to reach this condition. So with your knowledge in seed form, so she's really putting us in our place here. What do we know is in seed form. Okay, this is why, Marlene, I was saying we have to savor each word, because if we just go with your knowledge in seed form like the acorn of the oak, we miss that. We miss this detail that she said. You do not know much. You still are not even, have not even sprout to immortal life. So with your knowledge in seed form, like the acorn of the oak, you acquire the wisdom already synthesized within you through successive achievements to one day reach the stellar splendor of beauty, wisdom for which you are destined. So she's saying that we are just at the beginning, but we are doing this work. We have been able to learn and file all this information through all the accomplishments we have been having until, of course, we will become perfected beings. Naturally, in the initial phase of the growth process, impulses are what crack the outer covering to open the way for intellectual and moral acquisitions. So since she's comparing us to this seed form, so it's the moment when we start that we are cracking, right? Like the covering, the outer covering that will allow us to each time more gain this kind of knowledge and understanding. This pilgrimage enables the unfolding of your intellectual and technological progress, which enables the unfolding, which contributes to your advancement and the achievement of plenitude, if used in accordance with existential ethical values. So she is making a point here that in this process of, uh, of progressing, of evolving, mostly we will guide our efforts into intellectual and technological progress. We will be too much worried, like if we think about the primitive state of planet Earth. We have to survive. So basically, you would spend the whole day hunting or fishing or trying to find food, to protect yourself from the weather, all the things that we had that would take a tremendous amount of time for us to be able to survive. Not long ago, you could spend a whole day washing clothes in your sink, right? and, and squeezing that in your hand and all of that. It would be a whole process. Now we have washing machines. So we are using our intellect, our possibilities to make our lives each time more comfortable in relation to the planet that we live. um, Processed food. We no longer have to plant ourselves uh, the vegetables, the fruits that we are going to be having. We can just go to the supermarket and buy them. All of that has been developed throughout times to help us to have an easier way of living. With that, we have more time to work on the things of the mind. But it shouldn't be only the things of the mind. We should also dedicate to the things of the spirit, which we are not that much there yet, but it's going to be a natural process. Any comments or questions up to this point? Okay. Nowadays, the acquisition of scientific resources has given rise to a superior technology, which is responsible for changing the structures of thought and coexistence through well-being and the satisfaction of individuals' emotional needs. The pleasure derived from such achievements enchants and impacts many lives, amusing them in compensation for the severe struggles of today's social demands. As a result, people waste useful time that should be invested in meaningful accomplishments, which are pushed into the background, losing their fascination for what is elevated to the relevance of futility. So now when she comes strong and say, okay, now you have enough scientific resources, okay, that has made your life easier, and you should use that wisely, your spare time, not engaging in activities that at the end of the day will not bring you any compensation in terms of lasting values. Okay, she's not talking about not resting here, because as we have in the Spirit's book about when we talk about the law of work, and part 3 of the Spirit books, the moral laws, there the spirits are clear in saying that we need rest, that our physical body needs rest. But here she's talking about us thinking and choosing wisely, not just going after things that are not going to bring any kind of compensation to us in terms of our growing spiritual aspect. Any comment, question? The search for what is new, for instant information, fragments the mind and its capacity for reasoning, for reflection. It decreases the time that should be dedicated to meditation regarding the serious commitments made in the beyond. Of course, some of this amusement is harmless and pleasant. Nevertheless, it becomes a negative need. Cultural interests give way to the structure of quick, interesting thought, which is soon replaced by another thought that is more interesting, such as when one acquires the habit of obscenity, of fixation on the sensual and perverted instincts. Even the naive often portray the ridiculous, the petty, or the behavior of someone who goes viral. So here now she's talking about all the technological possibilities that we have, making a point that although it may be very important for our progress and bring so many good things, also can distract us too much when we start, mostly looking after tendencies or trends that are in vogue, but not necessarily good for us. And right after that, it's going to be substituted by something else. Or when we start worrying too much about catching up with the news, but news, they are not going to be enlightening in the sense of, what is the point of me knowing if actress A or B ended their marriage and are now dating someone else, or if a great entrepreneur is spending his time in Greece in a yacht or something like that, because of course this is what we see. People do not just announce, oh, I'm living in a hut, starving, and and we keep on being fascinated by that and wasting precious time on that. And she says here, disturbing discarnate entities inspire the search for such diversions of attention when they do not lead to the perverse, worthless ideas that flood the mind and disrupt the moral treasures. Make time for your entertainment and useful activities, freeing yourself a little for the magic machine for the sake of your emotional life, personal contact, human coexistence. Just for a moment, free yourself from the virtual and return to experience the real, the everyday, the human, the warmth of presence, and the exchange of bodily energies. So what is she talking about here? Our little devices, right? Or big devices. TVs, iPads, phones, mobile phones, all of that, which has been of a tremendous help to us. This is what, the reason why we are here, that we are capable of being together, although each one of us are in different parts of the country and even the planet, right? So people can come and watch later. So this is a real benefit. But here she's talking about, think about how much are you engaging into that, and not allowing you to engage with people personally, or in more productive things. This is what she's saying here. Be careful of psychological flights to entertainment under pretext that are merely excuses. Both empty minds, states, and those of frivolous, fun-oriented thoughts are dangerous. You need emotional balance, inner silence, time to reflect. Make a sincere analysis of your recent behavior in relation to the time you have spent on something useful. How many uplifting books have you read in the last month? Okay, let's stop here. So, yeah. Yes, Marlene?
I just realized while you were talking how much time I really waste on the computer. I mean, I have 100 excuses for why I'm on the computer all the time, practically. I need to find out what's going on in the world. I need to relax. I'll play some cards. Um, I need to check the email. I mean, it goes on and on.
Yeah.
So I get it. I don't need to do all that. I can do a little of it, but then I need time to meditate and reflect and think about things that I've read, like in the book Reincarnation, which I'm rereading again.
Mhm.
That kind of thing. I get it. I never did before, but yeah, I got it. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Joanna de Angelis, right? I mean, see, here she's saying that, I mean, it's okay to dedicate ourselves to, uh, make time for our entertainment and useful activities. But just thinking that sometimes, like you said, Marley, we have to free ourselves from the virtual. I mean, nowadays when we receive messages, people get mad at you if you don't reply immediately. They totally disregard uh, whether you have time or not, and what is going on with your life. If you are in a different time zone, sometimes we are in different time zones, and you cannot reply immediately as well. And sometimes you have so much on your mind that it's better really to stay quiet, in order not to write a crossing word, right? I mean, to be offensive, or uh, and sometimes if you just reply like a yes or no, they say, "Are you mad at me?" No, I'm just replying to your question. You ask, "Do you like bananas?" I say yes. I don't need to elaborate. Like, yes, I like my bananas at certain times of the day, especially this kind of banana. Or no, right? But when you reply in a written word, just saying yes, which is the answer to the question, or maybe they expect us to answer like children when they are learning to read or write, or
May I interrupt?
yeah, sure, go ahead, Philip.
Uh, just, I missed part of what you said because the bell rang and I had to run to the door. But what you're saying right now is a major problem.
Yeah.
I get hundreds of emails a day, and sometimes I don't see them for several days.
Mm-hmm.
So I spend a lot of time just erasing stuff that is not directly relevant. And yes, people do get angry with you if you don't respond the way they want a response. I've lost at least one friendship that way. So, it gets to the point where you wonder what's really going on in this life.
Yeah. I know some people. I've never managed to do that. That they have like an instant reply to the email, sending, "Thank you for your email. I cannot reply at this moment. As soon as I can," or anyway. But or even sometimes from the workplace, right? They write
Uh-huh.
after hours or the weekends, and God forbid if you wait till Monday morning to reply, probably you will get there and will be fired, right? So it's really complicated. This is why I think this topic that Joanna de Angelis is bringing is so important for us to think about, because we have been, something that was supposed to make our lives easier is bringing so much pressure, right? So much pressure. And I myself experienced something last week, that someone was, there was a birthday coming, and a very important birthday coming of someone we love, and they wanted us to make a video, and urgently. I was in Brazil, and I had so many things I have to work my time around to do it. I did it, I sent it, and I said, please let me know if you receive it. Well, the birthday went by, and I have no idea whether they received or not. And I sent to two different people that was pushing me, rushing me to do it, and not even a word saying that they received. Just this morning, actually, one of them sent me a message about something else and said, by the way, Grandma loved your video. So I said, okay, they got it. So you see that there is so much, we feel so much pressure. And because of that, it's like, we are going to be afraid of being judged, right? Or it's really complicated, but I think it's so important here that Joanna de Angelis said, we need time for our emotional balance. And if we just keep on going with this, never ending, looking at the computer, sending message. Sometimes I send a message to someone just because I thought of that person. And I just wanted to send, a loving embrace. But then the person, oh, thanks, Susana is available. No, I was not available. I just wanted to give you a hug, but it's not that I am available. I thought about you. I wanted to give you a hug, and that's it, And then they start a conversation. And so sometimes I have to refrain from sending this affectuous message, because I'm afraid that if they engage, all my affection from the beginning is going to get lost, because I'll have to say, sorry, I don't have time to talk now, or I'm leaving home, or something like that, right?
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Because this relieves me from the feeling that I did something wrong. When someone sent me something and within a couple of hours were furious that I had not responded.
Oh my God, I have emails that have been in my I lived to respond for almost a month. Go ahead, Sonia.
Yes, we have mentioned about many situations happen with using device when we are alone. But what caught my attention nowadays is families or couple at the restaurant have a dinner, and each one with this holding cell phone and writing, and nobody talking between them. Then I look like, oh my goodness, what's going on with this group of people? And last week happened with myself, because I was with my husband, my son, and my daughter, and all of them with the cell phone. Then I hold mine and give for them a message. Let's talk between us. We are together here, and everybody put on the table the cell phone. Then it's for me, it's a crisis, because people, it's losing this opportunity. As one sentence she mentioned, to exchange energy with others while we are together.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yeah, that's such an important point you brought about, Sonia, because this is like when she says here, it becomes an addictive need. You see, and when you talk to these people that are looking at their phone, they will always say the same thing. No, I'm waiting for an important message, and the important message is you know, if something is going to happen next week, okay, where like myself, the only exception, I say, my world stops when my son rings. That's the only
Yes,
exception.
exactly.
My poor
For me, my mom.
yeah. So, but you see, it's yeah. I had the occasion of going out with people that you know, they take pictures of the plate, of the restaurant, of, you know, the servers, everything, and they keep on sending on Instagram and engaging with people, but they don't engage at all. I once had the chance, you know, not had the chance, but was in a situation like that, that I mean, at the end of the day, I felt sorry for the person, because I said, how much a person has to be unbalanced, right? One thing, like Marlene mentioned, all of a sudden we are alone at home. I don't know about you, but I myself spent a lot of times alone in my home. My husband is working, it's just the two of us here. And so we are alone at home, or we will be, you know, in front of the computer. Okay, I can use more of my time to engage with people, to read the news, to see what's going on. But what she's talking about here, and what I think it's very important, is, you know, for us not to let this become a negative niche, and to remind us that we need emotional balance, inner silence, and time to reflect. And that this can also be disturbing discarnate entities diverting us. Okay. And let's say you're there, you know, using your time to meditate or to do something useful, reading a good book, and even watching a documentary or something that can enlighten you. And then, you know, messages start popping up, and all the kind of disruptions that will not allow you to have peace, to think about yourself, to meditate, to you know, to it sometimes is not about. I like it when Marlene said that she's reading again the book by Gabrielle Delany, Reincarnation, because I don't know, maybe is what happens with you, Marlene, but with me, this is what happens. Sometimes I go through a book very fast because I wanted to read it at all. I want, especially if there is, you know, story connecting them, like in many books of the Andrea Luiz collection, Life in the Spirit World. I mean, there is a plot and you wanted to know what happens, and then I go back and read again, saying, well, okay, now I'm going, and now that I know the whole story, I don't know that everything, I'm going to get back and read, you know, what escaped me. Like when we said here at the beginning, right? Our knowledge is in seed form, right here. In seed form, right? It can be easily, we can just go through that without thinking about it, without reasoning about this. So I think that this gives us a lot of things to think about. I would not like to rush to finish this today, because I think it's important for us to talk more about this. And so let's see, let's stop here to start here next week, but we can keep on talking now of what we were talking before.
Right. Can I say something?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. It's amazing what Joanna de Angelis is saying and telling us, because if you now look at the news, now they're saying that you have to look at the generation that's coming up, especially young children, how they are so addicted to these futilities and the fun life. And it's becoming very dangerous. It's not only that it's taking us to another spheres of learning, but that our children are growing up with this. And now parents are going crazy with this, that they have no idea how to reverse it, because these children are on these the new technology. It's overwhelming them in school, everywhere. And because this technology is great, but now it's becoming a sick situation, just like Joanna de Angelis is explaining to us. So we have to be alert and understand what is really going on here, and turn our thoughts and living a different way, because it is consuming our lives, and we have to be very careful. So it is becoming a very serious thing here, even though science and this technology is great. It is a great thing that we have, but now we have to learn how to use it in our lives. So
people are addicted to Twitter and TikTok and
this is
all of them, and they come up with such crazy things,
it's scary.
And people try them, and some people suffer injury or death even,
Mhm.
You see, I have a very open mind for all of that. I'm not saying that I'm right, but it's my way of thinking. So it's not spirited talking; it's just Sarah talking. I think that you make an excellent point, which is a reality, Soraya. But we have to think about old times as well. When we had the
Telephones.
Telephones, or when we started having radio, even the radio, right? People would stay there the whole day listening to the radio, okay? Or I forgot the name of oh my God, where we first played music, the round.
Javiola, what do you call it in Javiola is what we say in Spanish.
Yes.
We used to tape.
Photograph records?
Yeah, well, we used to play the records, the 45 and 78.
Yes. Yes. And then we had, this little devices that we would have the earphones all the time. It's not, we went through all that, right, and made our parents crazy. Okay, for at least 3 generations that I'm from the generation of my grandparents, my parents, my generation, and my son, 4 generations that I could, that I can stop and observe. We went through that, right? Through this craziness. Now it's the Beatles craziness, right? Or the rock and roll craziness, and children are, getting crazy. The Woodstock Festival and the 60s, so this is another phase like this one. And I think in this one, we have a great deal of guilty, because parents are the ones that are giving the device to children. They are the ones that when they go out and to have a good time with their friends, they have to take their children somehow, and they just put one of those devices in the hands of the children, say, stay there and watch these cartoons. Right. And all of a sudden we say, here, now it's good, but now it's not. Yeah. So we, and like Sonia was saying, she was talking about the dinner with adults, because both her children are adults now, her husband and herself, 4 adults, and 4 adults doing the same thing. So we're not giving the example.
Right.
We are the ones that are giving them this. We are the ones that are not saying enough is enough. I thought it was going to be a good thing, but we have to have some discipline here. So, dinner table, no phones at all.
Right.
We are talking about 30 minutes, sometimes maybe even less or a little more, depending on, how you dine. But let's do that. Let's start doing that because it's very inconvenient.
Right.
Very inconvenient. It's like sometimes I think I already mentioned to you, sometimes I go to a doctor's office and you are there before the receptionist and talking to her. All of a sudden, this phone rings and she starts talking to the other patient and making appointments and transferring to this or that, or, sending recommendations. And here I am, being live in colors, right? I like standing there. And sometimes I have to tell you, I said, do you prefer me to call you? I really just couldn't stand, I said, that's too much. I can call you and you talk to me. The phone is always a priority and you're there personally and it means nothing. So, this is so bad for our self-esteem. Like when you're saying, Sonia, all of the time now we've been bombarded with that. When we are with people and they are constantly looking at their phones and sending their messages, you feel like, you're a burden or you're not that important. Or when they send you a message and you cannot reply and then get offended because, and then you have to live in fear because you're going to be, losing friendships or this and that. And this is what Joanna de Angelis, of course, because she's the specialist in talking about psychology, she's claiming to us, please wake up.
Wake up.
Wake up. So again, I just thought about that wonderful phrase by Gandhi. Be the change you want to see in the world.
Change.
And this refers to, how much we are using or misusing our time. Right?